Hi students, today we will learn about Wolff rearrangement. Wolff rearrangement is the loss of nitrogen from an alpha diazoketone by the action of silver oxide or irradiation with light to yield an intermediate carbene. The Ernst-Isert synthesis is a method to convert a carboxylic acid to its next higher homologue by the operation of Wolff rearrangement. Formation of diazoketone. The carboxylic acid is converted into its acyl halide, which on reaction with diazomethane gives a diazoketone. So now let us look at the mechanism. See here, first we have an acid which on reaction with an acyl chloride is going to give rise to an acid chloride. Now, the acid chloride is going to react with the diazomethane. So here the first mechanism given here is nothing but the formation of a diazoketone. Now this diazoketone reacts with the silver oxide and so on. So the first, let us see how there is the diazoketone which is formed. So the acid chloride reacts with the diazomethane, and we know that in the diazomethane the CH2 is having a negative charge, okay, because it is you can see how it is only bonded to three atoms, that is 2 hydrogen and 1 nitrogen, and hence it has a negative charge on it. So now this CH2 minus is going to attack the carbonyl carbon, because the carbon is more electropositive compared to oxygen and chloride, right? Whenever you see an acid chloride, we know that the carbonyl carbon is always highly electropositive, and hence this nucleophile can always easily attack the carbonyl carbon. So once when it attacks the carbonyl carbon, there is going to be movement or a shift of the electrons between the carbon and the oxygen towards the oxygen to give an anion. Oxide anion is formed in this kind. Now the intermediate is, you can see how there's a bond between the two carbon atoms and there is the oxygen having a negative charge. Now the next step would be the release of the halide ion. So that is the negative charge on oxygen comes back to form a carbonyl group, and then there is the departure of the chloride. Okay, so this is the second step. Now here what happens is, the next step would be, now we want a diazoketone to be formed. Okay, so now how is that being formed is, when the chloride ion is which is departed is going to grab the proton H plus, then there is going to be a diazoketone which is formed in this kind. So now you can see how it is a diazo, because the carbon has a negative charge, nitrogen is having a positive charge, and there is a ketone group which is attached to the diazo group, hence it is the diazoketone. Now this diazoketones can react with the silver oxide to give rise to the Ernst-Isert synthesis. So during the Ernst-Isert synthesis, there is one mechanism in between, an intermediate wherein there is a rearrangement which is formed, and this rearrangement is the Wolff rearrangement. So now let us look at this mechanism. So now first step is, there is the reaction of the diazoketone with the silver oxide. Okay, now the silver oxide, what it does is, it is a good oxidizing agent. So now here you can see how first step would be the when it reacts with the silver oxide, there is going to be the departure of nitrogen molecule as minus N2. Now when there is the departure of the N2, what happens is, the carbon now is having is generated as a carbene. Now you can see this structure intermediate, how there is the negative, there's a lone pair on the carbon atom. And we know the carbene structure is always, there is a carbonyl group, and it is attached to a carbon having a lone pair on it, and which is going to form a carbene. So this is a ketocarbene. Now this is where the rearrangement takes place. Now you can see how the electron pair on the carbon moves towards the carbonyl carbon to form a double bond, and once it forms a double bond, you can see how the carbon now has a positive charge. Now that positive charge has to be released. How is that going to happen is, the alkyl group is going to shift towards the carbon, the terminal carbon, and once it shifts, you can see there is going to be a ketene generated. Ketene is nothing but a carbon atom which is having a double bond along the oxygen and adjacent carbon atom. So this is the formation of the ketene. Now this ketene on hydrolysis is going to give rise to the carboxylic acid. Now this mechanism, that is how the ketene is going to form a carboxylic acid on hydrolysis. This mechanism I have written in a sheet and I have attached in the Google Classroom that you can just go through. So now this in general is nothing but the Wolff rearrangement. The simple rearrangement in between the Arndt-Isert synthesis is the Wolff rearrangement, wherein there is the alkyl shift of the group from the carbonyl carbon towards the terminal carbon to give rise to a ketene. So this is how the Wolff rearrangement takes place. When diazomethane, now let us take some examples. When diazomethane adds to an aldehyde or a ketone, a product of CH2 insertion is obtained. That is nothing but there is the ring expansion. Always whenever there is, see all the Arndt-Isert reactions or the Wolff rearrangement always it takes place because there is always going to be an addition of a carbon atom to the product, okay? Now here when you look at the cyclic structures, what happens is there is always going to be a ring expansion. For example, cyclohexanone gives rise to cycloheptanone, cyclopentanone gives rise to cyclohexanone, and so on. There is one CH2 group which is going to be inserted. Thus cyclohexanone is converted into cycloheptanone. Now let us look at the reaction. Now see here you have again the diazomethane which is going to first attack, in diazomethane CH2 minus is the nucleophile. Okay, so this nucleophile is going to attack the terminal carbon, which I already told because terminal carbon, the carbonyl carbon, because carbonyl carbon is electropositive because there is an electron withdrawing group, oxygen, which is attached to the carbon. Hence, it is always the reaction takes place in such a way that the nucleophile always attacks the carbonyl carbon. Once it attacks, there is going to be the movement of electron between the double bond, that is between carbon and oxygen, towards oxygen to give rise to an O minus oxide ion is going to be formed. Now at this stage you can easily see how the negative charge on oxygen comes back to form a double bond, that is a carbonyl ketone is formed here, okay, and there is going to be expansion of the cyclohexanone. See, once the negative charge on oxygen moves towards the carbonyl carbon to give rise to a ketone group, there is going to be the expansion. Now you can see how the cyclohexanone is going to form a cycloheptanone. That is, this bond between the cyclohexanone and the two carbon which is attached to the cyclohexanone is going to give rise to a ring expansion, and there is going to be departure of the nitrogen molecule. So this is how you are going to get a cycloheptanone. That is, cyclohexanone gives rise to a cycloheptanone. This is the ring expansion reaction which is involved in the Wolff rearrangement. But there's a disadvantage. A disadvantage of this reaction is that an epoxide can be formed as a byproduct, and in some cases it may be the only product. So now here you can see how there is again the ketone group which is going to be, there's a diazomethane which is going to attack the carbonyl carbon, and then there is the movement of electron towards the oxygen, and when this oxygen, negative charge on oxygen comes back, is going to form an epoxide. Okay, that is, it forms an epoxide. There is nothing but a three-membered ring having the oxygen in it, heterocyclic compound with the departure of the nitrogen molecule. So this is the epoxide which is formed. Epoxide is nothing but a strained three-membered cyclic ring with a heteroatom, there is oxygen in it. So this is one of the disadvantage. Why you say it is a disadvantage is because epoxides can be formed as a byproduct, and sometimes it can be also formed as a main product. And epoxides are usually unstable because they have the angle strain in them. So hence this is one of the advantage of the Wolff rearrangement. So that's all for today, students. Thank you very much.